So I wanted to make this video because if you're going through no contact, especially this time of year, it gets more difficult for obvious reasons. I mean, the holidays are a time for the people that you love to be close to the people that are dear to you. And especially it's kind of a marker. So if you go through a birthday, an anniversary, a holiday, this kind of season, then you're going to think back to where you were last year. If you happen to be going through no contact and this is your first time through the holidays without that person that you're no longer with, then of course it's going to magnify the pain. And one of the things that happens when that pain gets magnified is it's going to make you kind of second guess everything. Pain makes you consider all the options. So when your pain goes up, you start analyzing more things. And if you've been in no contact, the first thing you're going to analyze is this the right thing? Should I reach out? In other words, you know you have a justifiable window. Birthday, holidays, anniversaries, any kind of special occasion is kind of like an open window. And pain will make you rationalize that it's a more open window than it really is. So it's a very natural thing to start thinking, well, maybe she's thinking about me. Maybe he's thinking about me. And you know what? I don't have to plead, pursue, or beg. I'm not going to break the spirit of no contact. I'm just going to reach out and let them know that I'm strong enough, I'm good enough, I'm doing well enough. It's okay. I'll reach out to them and it's okay. I'll protect no contact because when I reach out, I'm going to let them know that, hey, I'm doing great, even though I'm not. It's just going to be a little temperature feel. And who knows? Maybe destiny, and this is when your mind will really start rationalizing things. Maybe this is fate. Maybe this little voice that I'm hearing is the universe's way or God's way of whispering to my ear that this will be the first small step that leads us back to being together again. It's a really powerful urge. And the last thing you want to do is ignore that little voice. And you can kind of play it out in your head. I can see us getting back together. And on our 50th wedding anniversary, when we're giving a toast, I'm going to tell a story about how it was Thanksgiving back in 2023. And I just had this little inkling that maybe I should give him or her a call. And it turns out that conversation led us down the path to be reunited forever and happily ever after. Here we come. That little voice is your pain telling you, hey, this is your chance. Don't take that chance. Now, I'm going to admit up front, there might be people in the comments that'll say, funny thing is, I reached out 2 years after a breakup on Thanksgiving, on a birthday, or an anniversary, and it led us to be reunited. So it does work. And it does work sometimes, but it's a very rare, very small percentage of the time that it works. And usually it's because you've had enough time build up that it really does catch them out of the blue. But if you've been in no contact and it's just a few months, don't use the holidays as a chance to reach out to them. Let's go back to a metaphor we talk about sometimes. If you're in a breakup, the person that broke up with you, if they know you didn't want the breakup, emotionally, they're going to know you're still available. You're still in their orbit. One of the metaphors I use is if you're in a relationship, consider that relationship like a house. And when they break up with you, it's like they're asking you to move out of the house. So of course, if you're not the one that chose the breakup, if you're not the one doing the breaking up, then you're the one that wants to stay in the relationship. If you're watching this video, you wanted to stay in the relationship. So emotionally, you're on the porch of that house. It's really hard to miss somebody that you haven't lost. In other words, if I talked to your ex and said, do you miss them? They might say, well, I'm not with them anymore, but I don't have to miss them. They're right there. They're on the porch. All I have to do is open the window. I got an email from them last week. I got a message from them a month ago, 2 months ago. In other words, the more you reinforce the idea that, hey, I'm still here, the more you make it difficult for them to build up that sense of loss. So when you reach out, even though you think you have a really good reason to reach out, you're reinforcing the idea that I'm still on the porch. If you thought I was gone, if you thought I was strong enough to move on, if you were starting to get a sense of fear, panic, second guessing, a little bit of anxiety that maybe you made the wrong choice, hey, let me relieve that doubt for you. I'm still here. There's an email from me. Hey, happy Thanksgiving. Hope you have a great Christmas. Remember last year on New Year's when we went on that ski trip? And never mind. Anyway, just hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. So it's a really strong natural impulse. But again, you're relieving the anxiety that comes from them thinking that maybe you're strong enough to live without them. One of the things to remember in a situation like this, I didn't come up with this. Coach Lee didn't come up with this. This is just something that's been proven time and time again in human studies, in human interaction. If somebody has given you a consistent sense of worth and value over time, and then they take it away, human instinct, part of how we're wired, is we want to know why. You might have had, somebody may have had a crush on you for years that you didn't really have any attraction for. That's happened to me. And then I found out that they got over the crush. And it hurt my feelings. It bothered me. Everybody has an ego. You don't have to be egotistical to have an ego. It's having that consistent sense of worth from the people around you is what kind of gives you that self-identity. It kind of gives you that sense of value. So when somebody, especially somebody that has been your special someone, that you've been in a relationship with for a long time, that you were kind of that one for them, when they take that away, it makes anybody kind of second guess. Even right now, a lot of people watching this video, if you're honest with yourself, You'll be able to remember while you were in the relationship, there were probably times when you were thinking about the things that you're not happy about. You might have even been thinking about breaking up with the person that you're now trying to get back. Well, what happened? Well, when somebody gives you that consistent sense of value and they withdraw it, especially if you don't see it coming, they take it away, then all of a sudden this sense of panic, this sense of anxiety, this sense of hyper analysis, this second guessing, this deep sense of, is something wrong with me? They wanted me yesterday. They wanted me last month. They really wanted me when we fell in love initially. What happened? Did they get to know me? They found something inside of me. They found that part of me that I've always thought was broken, and they just confirmed that I'm broken. All of that kind of comes together and creates this panic to get that person back. A lot of times you not only want that person back, you want relief from this anxiety that's making you doubt your own worth. Well, when somebody breaks up with you, they're going to assume that you don't want the breakup. So they get this a little bit of an emotional boost from knowing that they're the one choosing to walk away, especially if at the beginning of the relationship, they thought you were too good to be true. They thought you were amazing. They thought you were out of their league. Well, the pursuit of that person that's out of your league gives you a sense of worth because, hey, that person that I think is up here and I see myself as here, if they want to be with me, maybe I'm up here too. So sometimes what they're feeling doesn't have as much to do with you as much as it has to do with their sense of ego, their sense of value, getting an increase, getting inflated from being with you. Well, what's a bigger ego rush than catching a person that you think is out of your league? Breaking up with somebody that you used to think was out of your league. That also gives you a sense of rush. It gives you a sense of ego. So if you're in that situation and you're chasing, you're just flooding their ego with more worth while you're kind of lowering your own value in their eyes and relieving the sense of, did I make a mistake? You're not going to get them to second guess losing something that they know they haven't lost. What you're feeling right now is fear, panic, and logic. You're going to think, well, if I don't reach out, what if this is my only chance? What if this is the universe? What if this is God? Hey, and I know them. They're really stubborn. They're never going to reach out to me. I need to make the first step. All those are really powerful voices they're going to keep whispering in your ear. Don't trust the voice. Don't trust the pain. Don't fight it. If you fight it, resist it, try to ignore it, pretend that it doesn't exist, or try to tough your way through it, it'll magnify it. Accept the fact that you hurt. Accept the fact that it's scary. But don't listen to what that voice is going to try to tell you to do. The other rationalizing voice is going to tell you, well, I know I'm not supposed to do it. I understand all that. But you know what? I'd rather be authentic. I'd rather be sincere. And even if I reach out and I end up getting turned down, at least I'll walk away knowing that I was my true self. I was honest with them and I was honest with me. I think I belong with them, and I'm going to tell them that. Because, hey, I've seen the movies, and even if it doesn't play out that way, at least I know I gave it my best shot. Well, let me just suggest the idea that that's not really you. Maybe that isn't the most authentic version of you. It feels authentic because you're in so much pain, and we want to express what we feel deeply. If we feel it really strongly, there's a strong inclination to want to express it to the person that we're feeling it for. That doesn't mean it's the most authentic version of you. The example I give is, if somebody cut me off in traffic, I have a pretty bad temper when somebody comes at me aggressively or tries to humiliate me. So if somebody cuts me off in traffic and flips me off, my authentic self wants to slam on the brakes after I cut them off, pull them out of the car, and calmly explain to them through physical interaction how what they did was not the appropriate response. That's my authentic self. Is that the wisest version of me? No. Is it the strongest version of me? No. It's only the most authentic version of the angry me. Right now you're in pain. So what feels like the most authentic, sincere, and honest version of you is really the most honest version of you in pain. The true version of you might be strong, might have a strong sense of identity, a strong sense of worth, a strong sense of purpose, is the kind of person that knows the reason they're put on this earth isn't going to be based on the emotional feelings of another flawed individual, even if you love them. In other words, the truest, most authentic version of you probably has enough self-worth to know they don't need somebody else to rationalize and feel like they have a purpose for being alive. You're just feeling a temptation to respond to the authentic version of you when you're in pain. That's not the real you, and it's not the strongest, most attractive version of you. So remember the you when you're confident. Remember the you when you know why you're here. Remember the you that has a plan for their life, a sense of meaning, a sense of value, an idea or a goal that is greater than the person who happens to be sharing your life. Act like that person even when you don't feel like that person. Another example is if you got me drunk and took me to a bar, which I never get drunk, I never go hang out at a bar. But if you did, and you had a long line of like beautiful women in bikinis hitting on me, I'm a red-blooded American male. I have urges. Would that mean that's the authentic version of me? No. In other words, Sometimes the emotion, the intensity of it can convince you that that's the real you and you need to be true to yourself. Be true to the truest version of yourself. Don't be true to the most painful version of yourself, because that's not you. And it projects a weaker, untrue version of who you are to that other person. So they might end up walking away from the painful version of you without remembering the strongest version of who you are, if that makes sense. All that aside, what people tend to lose sight of when it comes to the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, really any of them, any kind of special occasion that's starting to come around during the breakup or no contact, look at it like this. These are golden opportunities to not take advantage of a golden opportunity. Going back to what makes no contact work, it's that sense of loss in value from some source that you've considered to be consistent. In other words, again, we're not as logical as we are emotional. We don't make decisions, especially romantic decisions, based on what's most rational. It has a lot to do with ego. It has a lot to do with fear of loss. It has a lot to do with fear of regret. It has a lot to do with feeling like we're missing out. So we're way more emotional than we want to tell ourselves. Right now, you watching this video, a lot of you are thinking, I need to be the one to reach out. They're never going to reach out. It's taking too long. In other words, you're locked onto logic. But you might be the strongest version of evidence that proves that that's not true. Like, think about it like this. The person you're trying to get back has told you they don't want to be with you. If you're as logical as you think they are, wouldn't you just accept that, okay, they don't want to be with me. I need to go find someone that wants to be with me. I need to go be with somebody that we can build a life together, excited to be with one another. That makes more sense. That's logical. But you don't feel logic. You're not acting based on logic. You're acting based on hurt. You're acting based on a fear of loss, a sense and a fear of regret. You imagine yourself living out your life without that person you're trying to get back and feeling like you'll never get over them or you'll never find somebody that can take their place. So in other words, you're motivated right now, not by logic, but by fear, but by hurt. You can get that principle to work for you. But to do it, you have to be able to show the kind of strength and ability to walk away that they showed to you to trigger that same sensation, that same pursuit impulse that's kind of got you in the grips right now. The best way to do that, if you have these excuses, these valid reasons to reach out, like holidays, birthdays, and special occasions, chances are, if they know you didn't want the breakup, there's a good chance they're expecting a happy birthday, a happy Thanksgiving, a Merry Christmas, or a Happy New Year from you, because they know you want the excuse to have interaction. Because they know if they were in your position, they'd be thinking the same thing. So they're expecting it. When they're expecting something that reinforces the idea that you want them back and you're still waiting and you're still hoping, and you don't act on it, it makes them second guess. A lot of people, I end up talking to people that come back a few times. It doesn't happen all the time. Most people don't want anybody to know that they were watching videos on how to get their ex back. But sometimes I'll end up talking to the person that actually comes back. And when I talk to them a lot, most of the time they'll say something like, I guess I expected them to try to chase me longer. I guess I expected them to be in pursuit longer than they were. And when they didn't reach out to me on that special day, or I'd see them kind of going out and living their lives, I see them engaged in their life again, it made me second guess. So in other words, when you have a valid reason to reach out and you don't take it, you're proving that you can live without them. So when you have a golden opportunity, when you have a valid reason to reach out and you don't, again, human instinct, that ego, that fear of loss, it triggers second guessing. In other words, it's like Thanksgiving came and went, my birthday came and went, Christmas came and went, and I know I should be happy I didn't hear from them. When I broke up with them, I told them I wanted them to move on, but the truth is, it bothers me. Why didn't they reach out? I know why I don't want to be with them, but I thought they wanted to be with me. I wonder if they found somebody else. I wonder if they're getting over me. I wonder if I wanted to get them back. I wonder if I could. It's human instinct. It makes them want to kind of like peek over at you to see what's going on. It makes them start to doubt if maybe they made the right decision. And keep in mind, when they get that thought process of, did I make the right decision? It's going to bother them because, again, we expect ourselves to be more logical and more consistent than we are. Sometimes it's just that first thought of, why does it bother me? Why does it bother me that it bothers me? Am I still thinking about them? In other words, you're creating the opportunity. You're actually taking these excuses to reach out, and you're using them as a stage to prove that you don't need a reason. You're not at home just hoping for some excuse to have contact with them, hoping to pull them back in. You have a valid reason. You have an anniversary, a birthday, or a holiday, and you're strong enough not to take it. And let me just say this. It doesn't work all the time. I'm not trying to pretend that it does. But if not reaching out doesn't trigger that sense of loss, then it's because they don't have a great enough sense of loss already to trigger it. And if they don't have that sense of loss already, enough to be concerned and curious about why you didn't reach out, you reaching out absolutely isn't going to create it. In other words, if they're walking around not missing you, not thinking about you, and they don't even notice that you didn't reach out on Thanksgiving or a holiday, you reaching out certainly isn't going to be the seed that explodes into this, I've missed you, I realized I made a mistake, please take me back. And then the last reason not to do it is just like you have that voice in your mind right now rationalizing and thinking at 100 miles an hour or 1,000 miles an hour. 100 miles, I mean, a lot of people drive that fast. But the point is, if you have all these voices and these impulses and instincts telling you, I need to reach out, I need to do this, I need to make sure to take advantage of this opportunity to let them know that I'm still here. And it kind of builds to this panic, it builds to the anxiety is so strong that you'd rather take the risk. But at least doing something feels so good. It relieves that panic that comes from doing nothing. A lot of times no contact feels like you're doing nothing. So even if you're doing something that you don't think is going to work, at least it's keeping you busy and you get this little rush of excitement. Like when you're typing out the text or the email. Hey, hope you're doing well. Haven't talked to you in a while. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Give my best to your family. While you're typing it, you get this rush. You get this little adrenaline burst. It's this excitement. It feels like, hey, at least I'm doing something. This is a small something, but I'm part of a plan. And a plan is how you accomplish things. I'm carpe diem. I'm seizing the moment. This is going to be great. That's really what you're getting. That's really the payoff that you're going to get for it. The problem is once you do it and it doesn't work, now whatever anxiety you were feeling before, you go ahead and magnify that by 10. Because now that same overactive, analytical, hyper-focused mind of yours is going to tear apart everything that you just did. Why did I send that message? I was in no contact for 7 weeks. I was doing really well. But I just let her know that I've been thinking about her the whole time. I just let him know that he's still on my mind. And I like to compare every day in no contact as a stone in the wall that you're building. And at the end of it, that wall proves that you're strong enough to live without them. It's kind of your evidence of strength. Now you're going to feel like you just tore that wall down. Everything I just built up, maybe they were starting to miss me. Maybe they were starting to second guess. And then I had to reach out and wish them happy Thanksgiving because I had a moment of weakness and convinced myself that might be the way to win them back. When it doesn't work, you're now going to torment yourself even more. On the other hand, if you let these little group of holidays go by, like we've got Thanksgiving, we've got Christmas, we've got New Year's. And a lot of people have anniversaries and birthdays kind of sprinkled in there. So a lot of people have 4 distinct, meaningful days that when that other person doesn't hear from you, each one of them is a reinforcement. Each one of them is proof built on more proof that you're strong enough to live without them. That strength is what attracted them to you in the first place. That strength is your best chance to re-attract them. So make this deal with me. If you're planning on reaching out, let the holidays pass. A lot of times, again, I talk to people that I've helped win back. A lot of times, if you can go through those holidays, let's kind of step into the mindset of the other person that you're trying to win back. That was weird. Thanksgiving came and went, and I remember last time we were together, last year we were together, I was kind of thinking I was going to hear from them. I didn't hear anything from them. I wonder if they've moved on. Wait, if they've moved on, that means if I wanted to get them back, I can't. What if I regret the fact that I can't get them back? Well, they push it away. But then Christmas comes along. Same thing. I didn't hear from them for Thanksgiving. I didn't hear from them for Christmas. I didn't hear from them for New Year's. Now you've got these reinforcement days that you are strong enough to move on. Now you're going to trigger more of a second guessing, more of an analysis, because now they finally have a sense of loss. That sense of loss is what's going to trigger the re-examination. So if you're going to reach out, do it after the holidays. Do it if you've been in no contact for 3 or 4 months. Don't break it during the holidays. Wait till mid-January, because then when you reach out, they've just gone through multiple days of you proving that you were strong enough not to reach out. So don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you to do it in the middle of January. I'm saying if you're just determined that you're going to reach out no matter what, then wait till you get those days where you have a chance to prove that you're strong enough to live without them. A lot of times after those holidays have passed, they're sitting back thinking, wow, I thought I was going to get something from them. I didn't get anything from them. So it creates more of a sense of loss. They're in more of a state of mind where they're reconsidering. So then if you reach out in the middle of January, you've kind of already proven your strength. Then you can reach out with like a temperature check, not a mad, pleading 7-page tear-stained letter trying to talk them into coming back, but something as justifiable as possible just to give them the chance to react to you. You have a much better chance if you let those days work as evidence of your strength instead of taking them as an excuse to reach out and show pursuit and panic. But every situation is different. Sometimes the details do matter. If I can help, please let me know. You can find me at realcoachken.com. I'll be back again soon, and I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving and you're coming up on a good Christmas.